This hospital is horrible. As soon as it gets dark, they take the patient to the ward and cut off one of his organs. Some people had their tongues cut out, some had their legs sawed off, others were turned into asexuals. But what's even more outrageous is the yellow potion hanging from the bottle that allows their wounds to heal automatically. After they recovered, they had to undergo another round of surgery. And so it goes on in an endless cycle. Sharon was just having an appendectomy. Sharon woke up in this horrible place somehow. Her hands were tied to the bed. The yellow potion was half injected. The incision on her stomach was completely healed. Had she been sleeping here for months? Just as she was wondering, a doctor came into the room. He smiled impishly and unlocked her handcuffs. Sharon asked him where she was. Where is her family? The doctor said not to ask so many questions. Everyone comes here for a reason. He said he was going to feed her sleeping pills. How could Sharon hold back his violent temper? He pushed the doctor away and ran out. She screamed for help in the hallway. At that moment, 2 nurses approached her. Sharon rushed into the room for help, but the patients inside have long been used to. She was then dragged out of the room and given a shot of anesthesia. When she woke up again, she found the door locked. This was her punishment for escaping. At that moment, an old man with his eyes gouged out came through the door. The sight of the bloody man struck fear into Sharon's heart. If she stays here, it will be her turn next time. While she was thinking about how to escape, a note came from the next room. It read, "Who are you?" Sharon hurriedly wrote back, asking what hospital this was. The answer was, "This is not a hospital." Before she could ask further, a scream came from next door. The bald man was again dragged into the operating room. The next day, the doctor came to Sharon's room and told her there was no exit and not to try to escape. Then he took Sharon to the observation room. Here she finally met some other patients. The bald woman next to her told her that this was an underground laboratory. She was almost burned to a crisp, but was saved by the doctor. The bearded man next to her had his penis cut off, but it grew back. But Sharon didn't know what kind of torture she was about to face. The man was dragged into the operating room screaming. By the time he came out, his lower body was dripping with blood. He was turned into a sexless man every night. A doctor injects him with a yellow liquid. The wound heals itself in a few moments. Sharon was terrified and determined to get out. At the end of the hallway, she saw a door, but when she opened it, it was a wall. When the doctor saw that she didn't understand, he tied her to the operating table. Then he picked up a saw and cut off her leg without any anesthetic. When she woke up, she found that her leg was reattached. Try the toe is still quite flexible. In the blink of an eye, the wound had scabbed over. Sharon tried to walk a few steps without any pain. At night, the bald man came quietly to Sharon's room and advised her not to try to escape, because the doctor had promised him he could be discharged after 3 months. But Sharon soon found out that her ex-boyfriend, who had been dead for 10 years, was also present here. The bald man was furious when he found out. He ran furiously to the doctor and asked, "Do I have to be locked up for 10 years too?" The next minute, he was dragged into the operating room and had his tongue cut out. Sharon quietly went into her ex-boyfriend's room. There was a bloody piano. There was a wire on it. These 2 items broke her instantly. The doctor took her into his office and asked her, "Why are you afraid of the wire?" Sharon explained that her ex-boyfriend had hanged himself with that thing. The doctor smiled slightly and asked, "Really?" Sharon was then taken to a small dark room and hung with a wire rope around her neck. She was brought back to life with a yellow potion. The doctor said to her again, "Everyone who is here for a reason." Gradually Sharon understood the meaning of this statement. The reason why the bald man had his tongue cut out every day, it's because he was a lawyer who specialized in helping bad guys with their lawsuits. The bald woman had to be burnt every time because she was a vegetarian. In order for everyone to join her as a vegetarian, she set fire to the home of the owner of the livestock farm. And the bearded man gets his penis castrated every day because countless young girls are violated by him. So this is neither a hospital nor a laboratory. It is a hell on earth to punish the bad guys. But what did Sharon do wrong? To come here and be tortured. Day after day, the torture broke her spirit. So she faked a fall and stole the doctor's key. Then she sneaks into the office with the bald woman. She tried to call for help, but there was no internet connection. Then the bald woman found a map. After analyzing it, the 2 identified the exit. They changed into the doctor's clothes and went towards the exit. But because of the slippers on their feet were still found, the bald woman saw the plan failed and chose to commit suicide. It's better to die in this place than to live. Sharon took advantage of the chaos to escape the chase. She opened the door with the key and ran into the woods. What she saw was a luxurious villa, but after searching for a long time, she didn't find a single person. Suddenly Sharon tripped over something. She looked down and saw the body of her ex-boyfriend. When she looked up again, she was back in the hospital. The doctor punches her unconscious and she is hanged once again. As expected, Sharon is brought back to life. She asks the doctor, "Why did you have to kill her and bring her back to life?" But the doctor said, "They only save people, they don't kill them." Sharon was speechless. After the doctor left, she suddenly remembered what happened 10 years ago. It turns out that her ex-boyfriend didn't commit suicide, but she killed him by accident. To get away with it, she disguised the scene as a suicide. Soon Sharon is taken away again, and this time the doctor is her ex-boyfriend. He wants to avenge his death himself, but Sharon takes the initiative and puts her neck in a noose, and reminds her ex-boyfriend not to bring her back to life, because she had been suffering for the past 10 years. She should just die and be done with it. But the ex-boyfriend suddenly felt softened by the fact that he still loved Sharon. The two of them came to the exit of hell on earth. There is hot lava below, and the road to salvation is across the street. A small bridge slowly appears. Sharon closed her eyes and took the first step. In reality, the doctor is rescuing Sharon. Each electric shock shakes the bridge under his feet. In the critical moment, Sharon leapt and grabbed the hope of life. The ex-boyfriend was taken back by the doctor and left in hell. Sharon wakes up from the hospital room. The doctor tells her that there was an accident during surgery. She had a 15-second cardiac arrest, but it was a good thing. But only Sharon knows that in those 15 seconds she experienced numerous deaths. At the end of the story, Sharon lays flowers and candles on her ex-boyfriend's tombstone. Her heart was finally redeemed.